That was very fascinating.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I know it's Clark G. Gilbert, but I keep wanting to say
Griswold.
Clark W. As in Clark W. Griswold.
Me too.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
That's immediately where my head goes. Clark Griswold. Elder Griswold. We'll try to not.
We'll try to not call him Elder Griswold.
As the cold winds of winter sweep in, there's nothing like the warmth of a comforting cup to help you slow down and unwind. This is the season. Let Postum be your cozy companion. Made from roasted grains, Postum is caffeine-free and rich with a smooth roasted flavor. It's the perfect drink for those quiet, chilly mornings. Whether you're curled up with a good book, sharing a laugh with loved ones, or simply watching the snow fall outside, a cup of Postum is the moment you have been waiting for.
If you like meaningful LDS products that don't feel mass-produced, you should check out Latter Day 3D Studio. We design and 3D print magnets of many varieties, including temples and the Christus, as well as clean modern ties you can wear to church or inside the temple. Use code LDS for 15% off, available now for listeners. Everything is thoughtfully designed, printed in-house, and created to quietly reflect faith without being flashy. Head to LatterdayDay3Dstudio.com and don't forget to use code LDS again at checkout to save an extra 15%. Latter Day 3D Studio. Meaningful faith, thoughtfully made.
Hello, welcome to This Week in Latter Days, the Sisters Edition with your hosts Ariane Smith
and Tiffany Hales. We're here for February.
Yes.
Look, we're dressed all Valentine-y today.
We're festive.
It's Friday the 13th, so it's not quite Valentine's Day, but we're feeling the love today.
Yes. It feels like we have not done this forever, but it's only been a month.
I know.
It's just January is the longest month known to man.
January is the longest month known to man.
Yes.
I know it does. It's because we podcasted at the beginning of January. And so here we are. So what's happened in your life in the last month besides January being the longest month?
The last month of my life has just been consumed by high school dance, as you know.
As I know. I have been to several high school dance competitions with you.
It is high dance season, which we will talk about later in the show.
Exactly. And you are dance mom extraordinaire.
Yes. So the season is just about to wrap up. So we are on the cusp of going back to normal life again. So,
whatever normal looks like.
Yeah. So how about you?
I've just been swamped at work. In fact, January just really flew by for me and just got a lot going on work-wise. We did a really fun activity for Relief Society this last Tuesday. So we didn't do a January activity because quite honestly, coming off the holidays, I don't have my act together enough to get together a January activity. Mm-hmm. So we did a February activity. And for our February activity, we called it Share the Love.
Okay.
And so we had adult show and tell.
Ooh.
And so what you did is you brought your favorite thing to share, just like you would do show and tell, like in school.
Okay.
You know, you didn't have to bring like one for everybody or anything like that or swap. We weren't doing that. You just brought your favorite thing to share. And it didn't necessarily have to be an object. I had one sister who connected her phone to the television in the Relief Society room and showed us her favorite app and why she likes that app.
Oh, nice.
So, I mean, we were open to anything. But then here's where we got into the sharing part. We said, now, how many of you have something lying around your house left over from Christmas time that maybe you received that wasn't your favorite thing?
Oh, a little regifting?
A little regifting.
That's so smart.
So I have to tell you how we did our regifting because it was really fun. So you brought your item and we had paper sacks. And so you put your item into a paper sack and stapled it. So all the paper sacks were on the table. So
nobody knows.
Nobody,
it's a grab bag situation.
It's a grab bag situation. So you don't know what anybody else brought. And so then I passed all of the bags out. And I brought some extra stuff just because I thought, there's going to be sisters who show up and don't bring anything. I just don't want anybody feeling left out.
Right.
So I passed all of the bags out, and then we played. Now I said, now these aren't the bags you're going to likely end up with. And we played a couple games. I'm like, okay, if your birthday was these months, swap with the person 3 over from you.
Okay.
If you have this, swap with that person. So the bags all got shuffled around.
Okay.
And then everybody opened their bag. And here was the rule. If you liked what was in your bag, you were welcome to keep it. If you didn't like what was in your bag, you came and put it up on the table.
Okay.
And then it was up for grabs and anybody could come and take it. And then anything left over at the end of the night was going to DI.
Okay, that's so fun.
It was really
I
fun.
love this idea. Okay, so I want to know, how much did you have to take to DI?
There was only like 2 things that had to go to DI, and my friend who had gotten those 2 things and they weren't useful to her said, I'm just going to go home. I'll just take them home and I'll put them in my DI pile.
Okay, that's not bad.
It
2
was
things out of
2
all that?
things
Only
out
2
of
things didn't find
probably,
a home.
we had like 18 bags
Okay.
maybe. So yeah, only 2 things didn't find a home. I got this awesome Diet Coke cup.
What? How did you end up with that?
So here's how I ended up with that. And the girl who brought it was hoping I would end up with it. So here's what's really funny. So it's a cup, and it looks like a Diet Coke can, and it has a lid on it, but it's like, a big permanent cup. She said, I love Diet Coke, but she said an ex-boyfriend gave this to me. And I really don't want to look at this and think of him. So I'm regifting it. And we had the sister missionaries there, and one of the sister missionaries ended up with it, and she didn't want it. And so she put it on the table, and then
you ran?
I properly snagged it. And everybody there knows how much I love Diet Coke. Nobody was going to fight me for
Nobody
this.
was going to try to run and beat you to the table.
No. So anyway, it was a seriously fun activity.
That sounds really fun. I
So-
need to remember that one in my back pocket for the future.
Putting that out there for all you ladies out there that listen to us that may be on your Relief Society activities committee. And it was very,
That'd be fun to do with the young women too.
it would be fun to do with the young women
I'm
too.
in young women's right now, so
Oh yeah,
I'm in
that'd be
young women's
totally.
mode. Like, oh, could we do that? in
Yeah.
young women's?
And then of course we had snacks, and we had a little bit of healthy and a little bit of non-healthy. We did veggies, and then we had chips and salsa, and then I did my sugar cookies, and we had Rice Krispie treats. So
Okay, how fun.
we had a smorgasbord for everyone. There was clearly something everybody there could
I
like.
love this. I love a good activity idea.
And it was really low key. It wasn't like super plan intensive or anything like that, but tons of fun. And I have to tell you, I learned so much about sisters in my ward that
Oh,
I
I
didn't
bet.
know when they were sharing their favorite
I
things.
bet. And you probably got a bunch of ideas like, oh, I want to try that.
Yes, I did actually. So anyway,
Okay, very cool.
all right. Well, we better get into our news
Yes.
stories because
We got a lot of
holy
news
cow,
this
do
week.
we have a lot of news this week.
It'll be so quiet for so long, and then it's like bam, 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 bam.
I know. Okay. I sat down on Wednesday night and I put together our outline on Wednesday night, knowing full well, we had 36 hours before we recorded. There could definitely be a news story that broke. So that was Wednesday night. Thursday morning, I wake up. I have this thought while I'm making my bed. I'm like, well, it's Thursday. It's the day they meet to select an apostle. I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. I literally Thursday
You
morning.
thought about it. I didn't even think about it. It's been so long. It just was like back in my mind, not on my radar.
Well, Thursday morning when I thought about it, I resigned myself to the fact that we were not going to have a new apostle until conference. So I was just kind of like, yeah, we're not going to have a new apostle until conference, and didn't even think about it. Wasn't even checking anything online. At about 5:00 yesterday afternoon, one of the attorneys in my office, who happens to be a member of the church, came into my office with a Post-it note that said, Clark freaking Gilbert. And I knew as soon as he
You knew exactly what that was referencing.
I knew exactly what that was referencing as soon as he sent it to me. And so that is our breaking big news this week is we do have a new apostle, Clark G. Gilbert. He has a background that is very similar to Jeffrey Holland's background. And the opening he is filling is to replace the dearly departed Jeffrey R. Holland. Clark Gilbert went to BYU, and then he got a master's degree and he got a PhD. He was a professor at Harvard, and then he was tagged to come be the president of BYU, Idaho. And so he was the president of BYU, Idaho for a number of years before he then became a general authority 70, at which time he was put in charge of church education, and he was the commissioner of church education. So just this week, when President Oaks spoke at BYU, we saw pictures of President Oaks with President Shane Reese and his wife, and Clark G. Gilbert and his wife. Didn't even think anything about it when I saw those pictures come out on Tuesday. Well, apparently Wednesday, they have a meeting, a monthly meeting of the Board of Church Education, which of course Clark Gilbert heads that board. President Oaks sits on that board because maybe President Oaks even heads the board. I don't know who heads the board, but the board met. And after the board was over with, President Oaks says to Clark Gilbert, "Come hither, Brother Gilbert. I need to chat you up for a minute."
Oh.
Now I'm curious, is Elder Gilbert thinking to himself, this is a calling? Or is Elder Gilbert thinking, oh, maybe he wants to, talk to me about, the food at the Provo cafeteria, and what we can do to improve
That's
that.
true. In that position, he probably does have quite a few one-on-ones with the prophet.
Exactly.
So it might not necessarily have read.
It might not
raised
have
the
been
red
on
flag.
his radar screen. So apparently it was during that one-on-one that President Oaks extended the calling to Elder Gilbert. And then Thursday morning, when they had their weekly meeting of the Quorum of the 12 plus the First Presidency, he was sustained and set apart.
Doesn't it make you wonder, was the prophet just waiting for inspiration, and then on Tuesday he's hanging out with all of them and he's like, ding, ding, ding?
I did wonder that.
Is that like a situation of wrong place at the wrong time, or maybe right place at the right time?
I
depending on how you look at
really
it.
did wonder that, because we've been waiting for weeks, and initially I thought, okay, well, maybe they know who it is, but this person needs to wrap up some business stuff, or who knows. Or was the Lord just like, I'm not quite ready to tell you who I want. And then on Tuesday, he's down giving his address at the Marriott Center, and all of a sudden the inspiration strikes, and he's like, well, guess I know what I got to do. I mean, that's behind the scenes stuff that we'll probably never have the answer to. So the press release comes out yesterday. I have to tell you, I really don't know too much about him. I mean, I've never
all I know
been to BYU, Idaho. I've never attended BYU, Idaho.
All I know is the controversial crackdown at BYU.
Okay.
You remember that?
I do
right?
remember that.
Because we covered that.
Yes, we did.
Probably a year ago.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was more than a year ago. I feel like it was maybe last summer. The Salt Lake Tribune did a big kind of expose article, and they interviewed a lot of professors at BYU, most of them anonymous.
Yes.
Because they did not want to risk losing their jobs. And the rumors that were flying in the article were all kinds of things, like their spouses were also being questioned and interviewed, and if they had a spouse that was not active or had different views, that could make or break their hiring.
He was also the one that instituted the policy of, if you are at least a professor, I don't know if it was every BYU employee, you have to have an active temple recommend.
Right. And then they set up a special ecclesiastical process.
Yes.
Specifically for the professors. And then the article from the Salt Lake Tribune also said there was talk of they had to sign some new pledge type of thing.
Yes, I do remember the new pledge.
And I think a lot of it was around the family how they represent the family proclamation and the teachings in the family proclamation. So I do. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I really knew about him, was I remembered that whole series of the crackdown at BYU, and I was like, oh.
But I'm trying to remember, has he even ever spoke in conference before? I mean, honestly, I never pay attention to the 70s in conference.
There's so many of them that speak.
Exactly.
I can't keep track of it. So I don't know.
It will be really curious to see how his ministry unfolds, because they all kind of have their own little take on how they interpret the gospel and what things are important to them.
Right.
So
I think but that right now there's a lot of kind of speculation.
There's a lot
out there online that he's going to be a big retrenchment guy.
Yes.
Like old school.
Very.
But I mean, we don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So.
We don't know. I mean, you look at the writings and what President Ezra Taft Benson did before he became prophet.
Right.
And he did a 360.
He mellowed.
He mellowed.
He chilled a little.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here is a really interesting thing. Mm-hmm. Kurt texted me this morning. Mm-hmm. Now, I am not on X, what is formerly known as Twitter. I never have really understood how that whole thing works. Mm-hmm. So I'm not on that at all. But apparently, prior to yesterday, Clark G. Gilbert was very, very, very active on Twitter.
Really?
Formerly, or I should say on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Really?
So Kurt said that as of this morning, his X account has been scrubbed, and there is only one post from him on X remaining. Mm. So I'm like, well, that's interesting.
We should have been paying attention. What was he posting on that?
I have no idea.
Ask Kurt.
I mean,
but I also think that's really interesting because he was pretty high up.
Yes.
To be making, I feel like once you hit that area,
a certain level,
authority, kind of status,
your social media is taken away from you.
Shut that down.
Yes.
So I'm like, well,
you have people who do your social media for you. They curate it.
Highly curated.
You don't get to do it personally.
So I'm really surprised that at that level he was that active.
I was too. And again, I'm not on the X, formerly known as Twitter, so I did not know that, but I thought that was very fascinating.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I know it's Clark G. Gilbert, but I keep wanting to say
Griswold.
Clark W. As in Clark W. Griswold.
Me too.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
That's immediately where my head goes. Clark Griswold. Elder Griswold. We'll try to not.
We'll try to not call him Elder Griswold.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, this is exciting. We'll see. Conference will be like lots of anticipation, I'm sure.
I know, because I mean, even when we got the one before him, Elder Cosse, he'd spoken in conference a lot.
We're very
familiar with him.
We kind of know his style.
He had given a lot of interviews as the presiding bishopric. We kind of knew, where he landed, and so yeah. Elder Gilbert is very much an unknown to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see.
All right.
Okay. The other big news this week is President Oaks spoke at the BYU devotional.
Yes.
On Tuesday. And this was his first major, public speaking since being called to be the prophet. So there was a lot of anticipation around this event.
And did you see what the article said about when the students started lining up?
Students began lining up at 4 a.m. By 9:30 a.m., the line stretched from the Marriott Center up to like the MTC.
Yeah.
This is insane.
This is totally insane.
Is so BYU. I lived there when Krispy Kreme opened. People spent the night. This is on brand.
Well, I realize it's on brand. I will just say in the 80s when they had big speakers come to the Marriott Center for devotionals, there were no lines.
No.
Nobody was lining up that early, but
because even when the prophet came, like when I was at BYU, no line. I mean, you would go.
Yeah,
more people would go. but
you weren't lining up for hours on end to get in and get a seat. I was like, this is like a concert.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
This is like rock star status.
They must want like a really good seat.
I mean, not that it should be rock star
because also
status.
they put it on the Jumbotron.
Well, not only do they put it on the Jumbotron, they blast it to every television on campus. There's nowhere on campus you can go.
You cannot hide.
Plus, they blasted it to BYU Idaho, and I think BYU Hawaii too.
Yeah, and they said like they had 10,000 students watching the broadcast at the
I Center at BYU Idaho. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, he spoke. It was wildly anticipated and wildly popular amongst the students.
Of course.
So one thing that he really hit on that was like a big theme of his talk was about helping members overcome their doubts.
I loved that.
About the gospel. So he kind of hit on that. He said that he wants to help members overcome the doubts. He gave them 4 ways to draw closer to Christ. Therefore, helping them in this area One was strengthen faith in him, increase humility, seek help from others, and be patient. And then he talked about BYU, the destiny of BYU, how he believes like the vision of it and what it has been and what it will become, and that it should be run in the Lord's way and not the world's way.
Well, apparently our new elder Gilbert felt that as well a couple of years ago when
they are on the
instituted his policy changes.
They're on the same page about the Lord's University,
which is fair. Okay.
I'll be curious, like now that Elder Gilbert is in an apostle role, like will he? I know they have different jobs. Yeah. It'll be interesting. Will they still have him kind of oversee church education?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that they will call a new commissioner.
Well, I know they'll call a new person, but as an apostle, will he be like maybe the apostle that kind of like checks on that guy? Because is that how that works?
I think President Oaks sits on that board. So I don't know if they have others that sit on that board.
So maybe not.
I don't know.
Anyways, so yeah, it was a lovely address. He said, we are all a work in progress. We need to be patient with one another and occasionally even ourselves. Overcoming doubt, resolving conflicts between the evolving understanding of science and sometimes incomplete teachings of religion can be a lengthy process. So I thought that was interesting. Yes. He points out that like sometimes these things are at odds, but it's a work in progress and we're working on it.
I loved it.
So interesting. Anyway, and that leads into, while he was there, he went to the bell tower, the Carillon Bell Tower.
Okay, I did not realize this until this article, that the Carillon Bell Tower was put into place and dedicated 50 years ago when it was the 100th anniversary of BYU, right. And President Oaks was the president at that point in time. And that's when they put the Carillon Bell Tower there.
So that bell tower has great meaning to him.
So he returned to the scene of the crime.
This is the 150-year anniversary of BYU, I guess.
Yes.
And so he went back to the bell tower and they put up a new plaque and dedicated a new plaque to go on the bell tower. So.
And the plaque had a quote from him.
Yes.
And it was the same quote that he used in his devotional about the mission and purpose of BYU.
Yes, about the university being in the Lord's way, not the world's way.
And that is where we saw the picture that we were referencing earlier, where you had President Oaks and his wife, Shane Reese and his wife, and Clark Gilbert and his wife.
In front of the bell tower and the new plaque.
So. Can I just say, I really like Shane Reese.
I like him too.
I like him a lot.
And I liked the guy before. Who was the guy before him?
Oh,
we liked him too.
Worthland. Oh gosh, I had this guy as a law school professor. Kevin Worthen.
Yes, it was They used to shout his name at the basketball game.
Yes, I really liked Kevin Worthen. He was probably one of my favorite professors in law school. I thought he was a great BYU president. And I really like Shane Reese. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a fan.
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go.
Devotional, new plaque, new apostle. It's been an exciting week around BYU and church headquarters.
Yes, it has. We are well into February with a big old bang.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on to another story. I did a short about this last week. And I'll just call this church security, even though this isn't church security, but it ties into church security. So, of course, we had that horrific fire and shooting at the LDS Church in Michigan, where the suspect died and there were 2 police officers that killed him. Well, anytime anybody dies, whether it's a suspect or, whatever, there is an investigation because they want to make sure that the use of deadly force was justified. So there was an investigation into these 2 officers who shot the suspect to determine if the use of deadly force was justified. And that was done by the prosecutor in the county. And so the prosecutor in the county last week issued a letter saying, yes, use of deadly force was justified. We are not going to file charges against these police officers. Now, that, of course, isn't surprising. What is surprising is there was some information that came out in the course of this investigation that we did not know. So, first of all, I had this incorrect when I did my short. Mm-hmm. There were actually 2 members of the congregation that were carrying guns that day. So there was one member that was carrying a .38 revolver. And when this shooting started, he, at some point in time, he attempted to shoot the suspect. He shot 3 shots at the suspect with his .38 revolver, and he missed. So, during all of this, there was an off-duty kind of fish and game type of person that was in the area. He heard the call. He responds to the church. He sees the guy, or he gets all of his he gets his bulletproof vest on. He grabs his assault rifle. He sees the guy. He's chasing after the guy, because what the guy did is he rammed into the church. He went into the church. He fired shots. This is the suspect. Went back to his vehicle, got gasoline, returned into the church, threw the gasoline around, set the church on fire. And then it was after that he ran out of the church, and this conservation officer started chasing him, as well as another police officer had arrived at that point in time. So they fired at him. The suspect took refuge behind his vehicle. Then he came out from his vehicle. The police officer, as well as the fish and game officer, kept saying, he's not fish and game, he was conservation, kept saying, drop your gun, drop your gun, drop your gun. He didn't drop his gun. He started to raise up, and at that point in time, they shot him. Well, there was a third person that was there with him who was a member of the congregation. Not the guy with the .38 revolver, but a guy with an automatic weapon. Now, I don't believe he fired, but he was there with the 2 officers. Okay. So we had 2 people in the congregation that day, both carrying firearms. And of course, the church policy is do not carry firearms into the building unless you are an officer,
off duty, whatever,
a police officer. Police officers are authorized to be able to carry firearms into church buildings. Now, of course, we have known for years that while that is the policy, it hasn't always been followed. So that brings up the question of church security and post shooting. Yes. What is going on? What are we doing? I mean, I find it interesting. 2 people with guns couldn't stop what occurred from happening.
I think this is so interesting, because when we were talking at some point in time, I remember having a conversation with Kurt about this. I think it was when we did our year-end recap. And he was talking about how in Utah, where he is, there's been a big push on security, like parking lot monitors and things like that. And I have not seen that here in my state.
I haven't seen it in my state.
You haven't seen it in your state, but I have another friend that lives here locally in the Valley in a different state. And she said just this new year in 2026, there's been a big push in her state for security. Like, all the wards are having meetings about it, and what do we do? And they're talking about maybe putting monitors at the door, and they're rekeying the building to like a digital key, which I have heard some buildings have.
Interesting.
My brother-in-law in California, they've had it for years, like way before this.
So how does the digital key work? You punch in a code, or you have an app on your phone?
And the app on your phone gets you in the building. So no more church key sharing.
I was going to say, no more borrowing the church keys from the Relief Society president to go in and grab your tablecloths.
That is the unfortunate side effect.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate side effect.
They're talking about maybe installing some cameras. And she said that like, they're kind of like saying the LDS church is one of the only churches in the Valley that doesn't have security. I mean, most of these obviously big churches here have paid security.
Yes.
But I think there are probably a lot of smaller churches that don't have security. And LDS, though we are a big church, our congregations are small.
Yes.
Like, it's not the kind of situation where we have, anyway. So
2,000 people showing up for sacrament meeting every week, like a mega church.
So this is a big debate in her ward and her stake right now. They're trying to figure out what to do about security. And these are all ideas that are being thrown out. And I don't know. I don't love the idea of it. I get that we're a little on edge after what happened in Michigan, but I just feel like Michigan was such a one-time thing. Like if we were being continuously threatened, obviously, and I think there are instances, like we had a cousin in Nampa
Yes.
that their ward did have a guy that kept harassing them.
Yes.
And so they did put people at the doors, and that was needed. There was
Yeah.
obviously a situation.
They had a situation that called for it.
And it was an ongoing situation.
Yes.
So, but I'm just like, I just don't like the idea of, I think either the church pays for hired, if the church is overall as a massive church, if we're very concerned, let's pay for some professional security guards or do nothing. Like, I don't like the idea of Joe Schmo from the Elders Quorum standing by the door. Not that I don't trust him and love him, but maybe I don't trust him. like I just feel like I worry that this will embolden more people to bring their weapons for like protection purposes, even though you're not supposed to. And I just worry about what happens when there's an accident, what happens when a situation is misinterpreted or something. It sets you up for, like, there are lots of things that could go wrong, I think.
It does.
So
it does.
That worries me. And also I'm like, how are we supposed to be welcoming when we have like guards standing at the doors?
Yeah, exactly. If you have a big guard standing there and you're kind of hesitant to go in anyway, are you going to go, forget it?
Now, I
don't
do
know.
think the idea of cameras around our churches is smart. And that would be a relatively low cost, easy. Like, let's put up some cameras. We've had enough vandalism over the years at various buildings.
And cameras are inexpensive. And, you've got your video footage and
it can be a deterrent.
It can
as
be
far
very
as, like,
much
the
a
vandalism.
deterrent. Exactly.
I really think in the case of Michigan, where this person was just insane, like,
and
there's nothing you could do, like, and there's no way to make a plan
for
like,
something that crazy.
Like, even if you have some type of evacuation plan, when it comes down to, like, in the minute, like, you just don't know what scenario is going to play out.
Well, and the reality is, I mean, we as humans want to be in control. We have an overwhelming desire to be able to control and explain things. But that's not the reality of the world that we live in. And if somebody wants to do serious harm, like this gentleman in Michigan did, they are going to do serious harm. And there's really not probably a whole lot you can do. I mean, there is a whole lot you can do, but it comes down to a cost-benefit analysis to prevent that type of behavior.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's just the world, not only we live in now, but the world we've always lived in, is you can't control and stop crazy. Somebody who wants to harm you, I mean, you can certainly do things to make it harder for them to harm you, but if they want to harm you, they're going to figure out a way to harm you.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm really curious which stakes, because this seems to be going on like a stake by stake basis.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, across the US, how many stakes are having security discussions now.
I know. And it's, we don't, as far as I'm aware, there's no repository for this discussion.
Right.
So maybe we can put that out on the Facebook page and say, hey, what's your stake doing for security? And just see what we get. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about a fun little podcast that the Salt Lake Tribune did. They did a podcast on none other than Dieter Uchtdorf.
Oh.
So not that they invited Dieter to the podcast, because Dieter didn't participate in their podcast, but they did have Patrick Mason, who is the chair of Mormon history and culture at Utah State University, and Christine Haglund, who is a writer and former editor of Dialogue. And so this was asking questions of them. What do you think an Uchtdorf president will look like? Because as we know, he's only 2 heartbeats away from being the president and prophet.
That's true.
So,
although he's also a lot older than we thought.
He is, but we
discovered that last month. We're like, what?
Seemingly in very good health.
Yes.
Anyway, I kind of liked what Patrick Mason had to say about him. He said, well, there's this kind of cool factor of him being an airline pilot. When kids walk on a plane for the first time and they get their wings and they see the pilot, there's this magic thing. And I really do think that there's like a whole magic thing surrounding him. And then you've got the tagline that he's had for years. The Silver Fox.
Silver Fox.
Because dude has a nice head of hair.
And he has the accent. Like, there's a lot of things leading to his popularity.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. But they said, that he's good looking, which still is just an image, but his demeanor and his warmth, he's extremely charismatic, and that's hard to identify and define away, which is very, very true. He always talks about being a Latter-day Saint is joyful. You know, he's very much, his messaging to us is the gospel is joyful.
Yeah, he always has uplifting messages.
Exactly. And he projects that there are a lot of ways to be religious and lots of ways of conveying your religiosity, and that Patrick Mason said he seems kind of happy to be along for the ride. And I wrote in the margins, youngest child, because he is the youngest child.
Oh, he is?
He is. He is the youngest child. He's got all older siblings, and
he does have youngest child energy.
I thought about your youngest child, and your youngest child he's a boy, and he is just happy to be along for the ride. Yes. He has that very youngest child energy, like, okay, tell me what to do. I'm used to being bossed around.
What are we doing now?
Okay. Anyway, he said he's been part of the wave of 21st century Mormonism. If you grew up in the church in our age, he doesn't sound like some of the apostles that you used to hear that were all about obedience and commandments. Anyway, just kind of a really fun podcast to just reflect on President Uchtdorf and what he could potentially be like. And again, we don't know. This is obviously up to the Lord to decide if that is in his future or not. Right. But okay, I've always been a fan.
That just sparked an intriguing thought in my head. I want to know birth order of all of our prophets.
Oh,
wouldn't that be so interesting? Because I'm super fascinated by birth order.
I know, and you and I have been talking about birth order a lot lately because I've been giving forth a lot of firstborn energy.
She has major eldest daughter vibes, not just firstborn, but oldest daughter vibes.
It's very true.
So, like, I would be so curious. Somebody needs to make a list. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure it could be done.
I know. It probably is.
It probably has already been done. We need to find it. I'm curious. I want a list.
That would be very curious
of all of their
see
birth orders.
The current apostles and their birth orders and past prophets and their birth orders. Yeah. That would be so fascinating. So fascinating.
Definitely. Okay.
All right.
Next story. This was I
got a couple more I have to hit on.
Oh, we forgot. We have to talk about the fine.
Yes.
The $50,000 fine.
We have to talk about the $50,000 fine. So last week, BYU played Oklahoma State University. Oklahoma State won the game. BYU didn't, it was a legit game. Oklahoma State won. Kudos to them. During that game, the student section began the infamous F the Mormons chant. Mm-hmm. After the game was over with, Kevin Young, the basketball coach, was asked about it. He said, I'm really getting tired of it. I have to go home. I have to explain this to my kids. It's really inappropriate. And then I did a short and I said, Big 12, you need to get serious about this. You talk the talk that this is against your sportsmanship code of conduct, but you do nothing. This is the fourth time in the last year that this has happened. Mm-hmm. Colorado State got fined. Arizona did not get fined, and Cincinnati did not get fined. So this week, Oklahoma State got fined $50,000. It is definitely a step in the right direction.
We're 2 out of 4.
We're 2 out of 4.
I don't understand the inconsistency.
I don't understand the inconsistency either.
Maybe going forward, they will be. Like, do you think that the basketball coach speaking out against it put a little more pressure on them to fine Oklahoma State?
I don't know if it was that or a combination of this keeps happening and we really need to nip this. Because it keeps happening, or, my comment in my short was quit talking the talk and start walking the walk, because unless and until the Big 12 gets serious about this, it's going to continue. Now, in last week's podcast, Melissa apparently didn't appreciate my little short, and she said, I don't care what the big deal is. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. You all just need to get over it. That was Melissa's opinion.
Tiffany has a very different opinion.
I have a very different opinion. One of the things she said is I'm tired of these personal stories and people whose feelings were hurt and their children were there. I don't know if she remembers the story that came out of the Cincinnati game. There was an individual who attended the Cincinnati game, a sister, and she was part of the Michigan church shooting. And when she went to the Cincinnati game and they were saying F the Mormons, all of the PTSD that she experienced from that Michigan shooting, where someone was very clearly attacking her religion in a very violent way, it made the game very intolerable for her. You know, and I want to say, Melissa, would you go to that sister and would you say to that sister, get over it? No, you wouldn't say to that sister, get over it. And if the students were saying FBYU, I don't have a problem with that. There's all sorts of.
That's what I think the difference.
That's what the difference is. There's
FBYU is very different than F the Mormons.
Exactly.
There are so many people in our church that do not go to BYU, are not associated with BYU. But when you change it from BYU to the Mormons, that includes an entire religion.
It does. It does. And we would not expect to tolerate that from any other religion, people making those religious slurs. And so it should not be tolerated against the church. Again, you go to the basketball game, you say FBYU. I'm never going to say a word about that.
That happens to all,
all the schools. Yeah. I'm never going to be bothered by that. The difference is when you bring religion into it. So, which brings me to an article that came out this week that was what's behind the offensive chants directed at BYU. And so they interviewed Chad Ford, who teaches conflict and peace building at Utah State University, and he's a Latter-day Saint. And in a previous career, he used to report on the NBA draft for ESPN. And he said specifically just what we said. If you replace Mormon with any other world religion, the backlash would likely be more severe. And he said, I don't understand why this particular faith group is kind of exempted out. And he said, you know, it's common to ridicule opponents and cross social boundaries. Sports culture encourages that. Again, that was part of the discussion that Melissa and Kurt had last week. But he said that, you know, you want to dehumanize people and athletes, and that's one of the reasons they do it. And he said, and then he went on to talk about, you know, 25% of Americans hold unfavorable opinions about Latter-day Saints. And he concluded the article by saying, when I think about conflict, the desire to dehumanize the person who misunderstands me is strong, but the only real antidote is to respond with curiosity and to respond with patience and love and try and understand where it's coming from. So anyway, just kind of a timely article on that whole subject. I don't believe this is the last time we will be discussing this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to happen again. In fact, I would put hard money on the table that it's going to happen again. And it will be interesting to see, is the Big 12 going to draw a hard line in the sand? I mean, $50,000 is a pittance, but it's a start.
Yeah.
So,
but they've got to be consistent.
Yes, they do.
Okay. All right. Next article, another basketball related article. Mark Pope, who is the basketball coach for Kentucky, left at the post-game press conference early on Wednesday to pick up his daughter from the airport, who is coming home from her mission.
Which I thought this was so cute.
This was actually a really darling story.
He was like, reporters, peace out, gotta go.
He's in the middle of the press conference and he says, and you know, he's excited. He's talking about it. And then he says, it's 22 minutes until Avery lands. I'm out, guys. And
he got a police escort.
Yes, they helped him get to the airport quickly. And then they also did, she was able to make it they did a 30th anniversary reunion of the 1996 Kentucky team, which he was the captain of, that won the national championship. And she was able to make it back for that reunion. And he just really shared his testimony of the mission. This was his second daughter to go on a mission and return. And so he was able to share like how much growth and like the blessings it has been to their family to watch their kids do this and what a life-changing experience it was. So it's kind of fun that he got to share that little personal aspect in public at the press conference. And kind of unique opportunity to share that.
It was great.
It's a cute story.
It was a cute story. All right. Speaking of cute stories, if you are a college student and you are single and lonely on Valentine's Day, we have we have an activity for you. There is a nonprofit group that was started by a BYU student. It's called Friends and Flowers. And they did this last year. He assembled about 100 of his friends. They gathered flowers, and rather than be lonely on Valentine's Day, they went and took those flowers to assisted living centers and passed them out. And I thought that was so fantastic.
So cute.
So they are hoping to level up this year, and they are looking for 4,000 volunteers and 8,000 flowers. And they're going to pass these out. They have a real social media presence. They not only do this Friends and Flowers over Valentine's Day, they do other things to help lonely people. And so I just thought, shout out to you just doing something wonderful and serving another human being.
Yes, I love it. Okay, next story. This is out of Idaho. The
Woo.
first congregation, the first Swahili ward in the United States of America was just created in Boise, Idaho.
Woohoo to Boise.
So this is exciting. They've been a branch, I think, for a while,
Yes,
but
they have.
they just got officially made a ward, which means they have enough people for that.
Exactly.
And it says that sacrament meeting was interrupted with applause when this was announced, and they announced the new
Oh.
bishopric. So that's really cool. We have a lot of refugees here in Boise, so I'm assuming that's how we got ourselves a Swahili ward.
I would assume so
So-
too. And we love that for them.
Yes, we do. All right, what's next? Oh, Utah dance.
Utah dance. I thought the dance mom needed to do the dance story. And you are the quintessential dance mom.
So the New York Times this week, or within the past week, came out with an article all about dance and drill team, and they focused on Utah and just what a complete culture it is in Utah.
Oh, it's so a culture. If you haven't seen this, go on YouTube and in your search put Utah military drill, and you'll be blown away by what it pulls up.
Yes. So then the article was also picked up, I believe, by the Tribune, right?
No, this was Deseret News.
Deseret News also picked up the article and hit on kind of what the New York Times hit on. So they talked about how, so when you're on a dance team, it's just evolved so much over the years. When we were in high school, it was called drill team.
Yes.
And they marched with the band and did like flags, but then they also did dances. It has now evolved. They don't participate with the band anymore. That's color guard. And you don't call it drill team anymore. It's called dance team.
Yes.
And they have different styles of dances that they compete in. They have like hip hop and a dance category, and pom and kick. But one of the categories is called military drill. And this is kind of leftover from the old drill team days.
Okay.
This is a leftover style of dance from the days when it was more of like a drill team. So military drill is one of the styles of dance that girls do in Utah and Idaho and all over.
It's very precision oriented.
It's really big in Utah, obviously, the dance capital of the world. And these military dances are very, lots of precision moves, like marching, faces, like angry faces, grunting, like, So the article just
something to behold. That's why you have to go on YouTube and see it for yourself. I can't describe it.
It's a very unique style of dance. So the article just talked about how these sweet, good girls who get straight A's turn into these like scary warriors when they do these dances. And it just talked about how much dance has grown. The sport overall in the United States is the 6th most popular sport for girls. I thought that was interesting.
I found that fascinating. I had no idea.
Yeah. So, and they just talk about how much discipline it is, how intense it is, the amount of discipline it takes. It's just become a really big thing in high schools, depending on where you live though. I mean, it's big in Utah. It's big in Idaho. When we lived in Oregon, it is not big in high schools there.
Okay.
So I do think it's very regional. I think it's big in Texas.
Yeah, it's big in Texas.
I think California does quite a bit. So it just kind of depends on where you live. But obviously, this is my world right now. So in fact, we have district dance competition tomorrow for my daughter. And I can attest to everything this article said about how intense it is and what a sport it is.
Yeah.
My daughter has been dancing since she was really little. And my oldest daughter was always a basketball player and a soccer player.
Yes.
And she really likes to tease her
dancer
that dance is not a sport. And there is nothing that will get her fired up more quickly than you claiming that dance is not a sport. And after me witnessing her do it this is her second year in high school, I have to say, I also get fired up very quickly when somebody says that now, because
it's just a club activity.
She has worked so hard,
really
and all sports are hard.
Yeah.
And my older daughter also worked extremely hard at basketball and soccer, but a basketball and a soccer season lasts for a month and a half, 2 months, and a dance season
it's year round,
about 10, 11 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So there's no break.
Exactly.
And they are up at 5:30 in the morning practicing, and just the emotions of this sport are more than what I expected.
Oh, no kidding. All right, let's move on to some Mormons in the media. We're going to hit on two things really quick. Last year, there was a movie came out called Heretic. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I never saw it. It was about two sister missionaries who got kidnapped, and
I didn't see either. I was scared. It looked too scary.
Hugh Grant was the bad guy in the movie. That's not my type of movie that I like to see anyway. And I was just like, I'm not interested in that. So the directors and producers of that movie had a new movie that came out this last November, and I can't believe I never heard of it. It was called Eternity. Now, while they don't specifically call out the church, the whole principle of the movie is based on church principles. So this lady passes away, and she has her first husband that died when she was really young, and her second husband that she lived with.
I have
and
heard of this.
She gets to eternity, and she has to decide which husband she wants to spend eternity with.
Okay.
And so it has all of these undertones of church principles.
I remember, I think I watched a preview for this with my husband.
Okay. Well,
is it out now? I have not watched the movie.
It came out in November.
Okay.
And so it's out.
So it's out to stream.
I think you can get it on Amazon Prime to stream.
Well,
I read a synopsis last night, and it still wasn't enough to make me go, I want to watch that movie.
I'm kind of intrigued, but I do remember seeing a preview for it now, but I did not realize it was done by the same people.
Neither
that did
I.
Heretic.
The Daily Universe out of BYU did that article and told me that.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. All right. Also in Mormons in the media, we have a Real Housewife of Salt Lake City update. Brittany Bateman. She dates Jared Osmond. They are on again, off again, like nobody's business. She did a whole Instagram post this week as a montage to her love for Jared. And by the way, I'm breaking up with you and I'm dating myself.
She broke up with him over Instagram?
She broke up with him over Instagram. They reached out to him and said, Jared, you breaking up with her? And he said, well, we got in a fight. I didn't know we were breaking up, but this is what she does when we get in a fight. So whether or not this breakup actually sticks.
No, it won't stick.
It won't stick. And I personally think that she did this to up her chances of getting invited back to the next Real Housewives season to create more drama.
A little PR attention.
The PR attention. So the producers will go, we need to have that Brittany girl back.
All right.
That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Ugh, the shenanigans.
Okay, let's get to Mormons behaving badly. Now, I could have put this in the main news stories because it's definitely a main news story, but I left it for Mormons behaving badly. Oops, we did it again. We have another BYU football player who is in trouble because he had a little, well, it depends on on whose side of the story you believe. His name is Parker Trent Kingston. He was arrested this week for first-degree rape. He is sitting in the Washington County Jail, although he was supposed to appear in front of a judge today. So who knows if he got bail. This incident where the rape
I'll look it up. I thought I read that they're not giving a bail.
Okay, well, that could very well be.
Look it up.
The incident that started that resulted in this allegation was a year ago. This girl alleged that he raped her. She'd invited him over. She had set the boundaries of, I'm not going to have sexual relations with you, and sexual relations happened. He, of course, asserts that sexual relations were consensual. She, of course, asserts they were not. She did report the rape within 2 or 3 days of it happening. It's been investigated for the last year, and then finally he was charged. So he apparently is a senior wide receiver, was expected to return for his senior season at BYU. According to some of the attorneys in my office, he apparently is very well known and plays a lot. He's not like a second string player.
He has one more season.
He has one more season. or maybe had one more season of eligibility. It will be interesting to see what BYU does if they treat this similarly to what they did with their quarterback last year.
He's not coming back.
Well, I think last year they just suspended their quarterback, but they suspended him with so many games that it didn't make sense for him to come back. I don't think they kicked him out of school.
No, because he admitted that he had sex with a girl.
Well, this guy admitted it too, only he just said it was consensual.
Right. No, so did the other guy.
Well, yeah, the other guy did, yeah.
And I think he got kicked out, like totally kicked out.
I thought he just got a game suspension.
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
wait, we're talking about the same guy?
Yeah, we're talking about the Jake.
The BYU Jew?
Yeah, the BYU Jew.
Yes. No, he got kicked out.
Okay. All right. I thought he just got like a 7-game suspension, so it made no sense for him.
He was donezo.
Okay.
So,
well, I would suspect that Brother Kingston is probably donezo as well.
He's going to be donezo. He has to be. I mean, he just has to be.
I think he just has to be. So anyway, one question I had is, I mean, clearly he knew that the police were investigating him because the police show up and have a conversation with him. Is that something you report to Kalani, or do you just pretend and go, Kalani doesn't need to know that yet?
This is what I wanted to know too. And also I wanted to know, is this a normal timeline for the investigation?
I thought it took a really long time, and I don't know why.
Because it seems like in this kind of case, there's not that much evidence to collect, right? You've got her story, you've got his side, you probably have a rape kit. So I was like, why did it take till football season is over? Sorry, maybe that's conspiracy theory me, but I don't know, because bureaucracy, these things sometimes take a while.
I was surprised at the timeline as well, because when I saw that it happened a year ago, I thought, oh, she must have waited several months to report it. And then a subsequent article came out and I was like, no, she reported it days after it occurred. So I don't know.
Anyways, not cool.
Not cool. Okay, here's my last Mormon behaving badly. This comes from the Orem Police Department Facebook post. I just have to read this because it's just hilarious. Just after 1 a.m., officers responded to a report of 2 juveniles entering an LDS church through a window, apparently overlooking both the hour and the locked doors. Police surrounded the building, at which point both suspects decided running would improve the situation. They were mistaken. An 18-year-old male was found with liquor, vapes, and a kitchen knife taken from inside the church.
Oh, that's going to be dull.
Yeah, there's not a sharp knife in the church.
Not hurting anybody with that. Sorry.
Oh gosh, I didn't even think about that. While a 16-year-old accomplice had ditched a firearm inside the building. One was taken to jail and the other juvenile detention, both now facing multiple felony and misdemeanor charges.
Oh dear.
So we don't know if they're LDS, but Mormons behaving badly is anything Mormon adjacent. And so breaking into an LDS church, I consider that Mormon adjacent.
All right. Well, let's put up those cameras and that'll help.
That'll help. Although apparently, I mean, the police were on the scene right away. So I wonder,
the cameras.
I wonder if there was some sort of security or something that obviously triggered them to go to the scene and catch these juveniles in action.
Yeah. Maybe.
So, okay, before we move on to favorite things, we have a fun thing to try today.
We haven't taste tested for a really long time.
We have not taste tested for a really long time. These right here. This is a new Valentine candy. I happened to be at a dance competition supporting you and your daughter a couple of weeks ago, and this popped up in my feed, and I said, oh, we need to order these. Mm-hmm. So I immediately ordered them from Walmart because, well, you know, Walmart, delivery, ordering, it's great. They are Hostess Twinkie candy hearts.
I'm suspicious.
I am too. Now, I love a good Twinkie. You know I love a good Twinkie. I'm a child of the 70s. I grew up on Twinkies. I am a little suspicious that these are really going to taste pretty awful. But we're going to open them and try them.
Also, they look like they're made of white chocolate.
They do.
Not my fave.
Not my fave either.
But we will try.
We will try.
We just have to take one for the team.
Ooh, they smell vanilla-y.
Do they smell like Twinkies?
Smell how vanilla in me.
They smell like cake.
Okay.
Vanilla cake.
Vanilla cake.
Yes.
All right. Let's open and try.
Okay. Color is
yellow-ish.
Suspicious.
Okay.
Oh, our screen got dark.
They kind of taste a little cakey, a little bit. I mean,
it's like a birthday cake flavor.
It's like a birthday
when you
cake
have
flavor.
artificial birthday cake flavoring in like something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think they taste Twinkie-ish.
No,
but birthday cake-ish.
They taste vanilla-ish
and very chemically.
Very chemically. They're not my favorite, but
and
they're not awful.
The filling inside is not like
soft.
I thought it would be soft like a Twinkie.
I thought it would be too.
That's unfortunate.
Okay,
worth a try. I mean,
worth a try
for us to try.
I've got a 21-year-old son.
Wouldn't buy him again.
He's
they won't go to waste. So,
okay. Should we do favorite things?
Yes.
Do you want to start?
I will start. I'm going to share a favorite thing that I'm pretty sure I might have shared a year ago, but it's on its second season, so I feel the need to share it again.
Oh, I know what it is.
I just have to say it's held up. Second season is as good as the first so
and
far.
I haven't watched the first, but I now have HBO, so I can.
Okay, it is a show on HBO. It's called The Pit. It's about the ER in a Pittsburgh hospital.
Okay.
Thus The Pit. It has Noah Wiley from the good old ER days.
OG ER.
Yes. And I love this show. It takes, the whole season is like supposed to be one shift in the ER. So every episode is 1 hour of the day in the ER. We start at 9 a.m. Then we go to 10 a.m. Then we go to 11 a.m. And you just see how the day evolves. Now, I'm 100% sure they're probably seeing way more action than a normal ER sees.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I have like seen a lot of doctors and stuff online comment that this is very realistic.
Oh.
And it is so good. The characters that are the doctors and nurses are just so good.
I have heard this. In fact, it's specifically been on my watch list. My biggest problem is I get in bed and I really only have about a 20-minute window before I'm going to crash. So I'm on TikTok for 20 minutes.
Yes. Now, be warned, you have to be prepared for medical gore.
And foul language. Don't they have foul language in it?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
It's not like the worst, but there is an F-bomb here and there.
Okay.
Fair
enough.
Under duress in the ER.
Okay.
But the medical gore is a lot. And I don't mind it at all. I think it's completely fascinating. My husband cannot. So he won't watch this show with me.
Okay.
He can handle violent gore, but not medical gore. I can handle
that's hilarious.
I know. I can handle medical gore, but not violent gore. We're very opposite.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right. Here's my favorite thing. This is a hair care product.
Ooh.
It is Tresemme Lamellar Gloss. Okay. Now, I have heard online, everybody's talking about, do a gloss in your hair.
Yeah. What's a gloss in your hair?
So I bought 2 different glosses. This is a cream serum. I bought another Tresemme product that's kind of more like an oil. It's supposed to just like make your hair like soft and shiny.
Okay.
I mean, I have naturally curly hair. Today, if you're watching on YouTube, it's quite straight because I straightened it today. But I have naturally curly hair that is like so frizzy, and I struggle. I'm on the struggle bus always with my hair. Because if I leave it curly, I want nice soft curls. I don't like crunchy curls, and I don't want frizzy curls. And so I cannot even tell you the number of products I've tried and returned. So I tried the oil gloss first, and I was kind of like meh on the oil gloss. So a couple weeks ago, I tried this serum gloss. Now there's 3 different ways to use the serum gloss. You can use it as a rinse off treatment, and after shampooing, apply several pumps of it and rinse through your hair. You can use it as a pre-shampoo treatment. But the way I use it is I use it as a leave-in treatment. So when I come out of the shower and my hair is wet, I specifically do 2 pumps because I don't need any more than that. I have very thin, fine hair. And I put it on the ends of my hair that are so dry and tend to get the frizziest. And I have frizz on my hair, whether it's curly or whether it's straight like it is today. And so I use it whether I'm straightening my hair. I use it whether I'm curling my hair. And it just really controls the frizz. And I thought with the serum, it would be really heavy and like feel and look greasy. And it doesn't. It's light. So I am a big fan of this Tresemme Lamellar Gloss.
Can I smell it?
You can smell it. I don't really think it has a smell to it. I haven't noticed a smell to it. You tell me what you think.
Oh, very light.
Very light.
Not much at all.
Yes.
That's good.
So if you're concerned about perfumes,
Okay.
this no perfumey. So Highly recommend.
Okay, good to know.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us today.
Yes, it's been fun.
This was great. I kind of feel like, we were shotgunning it today. We had a lot to get through in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we did a good job getting through it.
We made it through everything.
All right. If you have any comments, you can reach out. I believe our email is up and running at contact@thisweekinlatterday's.com. You can also find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. Myself and some of the other hosts are doing some really fun 60-second shorts that are popping up on Instagram and Facebook. And so go watch those because they're just really fun.
You've been good at doing those.
They've been fun to do. So if you want just a really quick blast of the news, you can look for those 60-second shorts that we're doing. As always, we appreciate you joining us and thank you very much.